Hello, I'm Mr. Hecker. You're watching this video presumably because your student is enrolled in either my Physics or Physics Essentials class. The goal of this video is to help you learn a little bit about how your student can be successful in my class. So I would ask that you and your student sit down and watch the video together. And then when you're done, take a look over the syllabus that I passed out in class, and then sign and fill out the information at the bottom of the sheet. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the video.
All right, welcome to Physics Video 0.1. As I said in the intro there, this is intended for parents and guardians so that you can get an idea for what goes on in my class and help your student be successful. All of these videos are going to start out with a list of learning targets. Students will have those on paper on their worksheets that I'll pass out in class. And they are important. Students should definitely look them over so that they know what to be watching for as they watch the video, and because those are the things that they're eventually going to be tested on, okay? So do take a minute and look those over before you move on. You will not be tested on this, unlike your students. All right, so here we go. So the first thing you should be aware of is how to access my website. I'm actually not going to linger on this because presumably, since you're watching this video right now, your student has shown you how to get to my website. All right. If you do have questions on it, though, maybe pause the video here and take a look. It's pretty easy to get to. All right. But here's some important stuff, things that are on my website. The website includes a calendar that will give you up-to-date information about assignments, assessments, and due dates and that kind of stuff. Obviously, the website is how you access the video lectures, like the one that you're watching right now. And then if your student gets home and is missing a handout of some sort, those can be downloaded from my website. Here's my website. So like I said, you can access the videos if you click the videos link. Make sure you're clicking the right one. If your student's in Essentials, they want to be clicking here. If they're in regular physics, they want to be clicking there. So click whichever link is appropriate. That'll get you to the videos. Choose the unit that you need and then the video that you want. Okay. Also available is a calendar of, like I say, due dates and stuff. So if you click on that, it'll be blank right now because it's August, but eventually you will see a list of assignments and when they're due and that kind of stuff. All right, so this is left over from last year. All right, so there you go. And then finally, the other thing that's on my website is a place for you to download stuff. So again, if your student gets home and is missing an assignment, then you can just click on the assignment and it will download it, usually to a little window down here. So just click the link and it'll open it up. And there you go. That is the shortest assignment of the year. All right. So moving on then, those are the things that are important on the website. Let's talk a little bit about how this class is going to be different from most of the classes that your student will take. So this is a flipped classroom. So what that means is, in a traditional classroom, usually what happens is the teacher will spend the hour lecturing on stuff. They'll say, here's some stuff you need to learn. And then, all right, here's a homework assignment. Go home and try it. And then the students go home and they try the homework. And the next day they come in and the teacher goes over the homework and he answers questions on it and then probably lectures and repeats the process. All right. In the flipped classroom, which is what your son or daughter is enrolled in now, it's flipped. So they actually, instead of going home to do the homework, they go home to watch the lectures. So that's what these videos provide, is notes. So your son or daughter has homework, I think, probably tonight, if things go according to plan. And they're going to watch a lecture. They should sit down, take notes, just like they would in an ordinary class. And then the next day when they get to class, then we'll be doing an activity that relates to what they learned in the video. Okay. So as we go through the video here, I'll talk about some of the advantages of it. But that's the main idea there between the main difference between those two formats of class. So the learning pattern, because it's a flipped classroom, is a little bit different than in a traditional classroom. The way that it works is students will be given a packet of work to do for a certain unit. The unit will be broken up into topics, and each topic will be covered in a video lecture. And so for each video lecture, the students should start by watching the video and taking notes, and they should take notes the same that they would in a regular classroom, as though I was, standing in front of a classroom and giving notes. They should write down definitions. Any examples I do, they should write down, because ultimately those are the examples that'll help them do the activity the next day in class. All right, so then the next day they'll come to class, they'll do an activity. More often than not, to be honest, it's a worksheet. We call those target practice. But occasionally they'll come in and they'll do a little lab or something like that to make sure they understood what was in the video. After they complete the assignment, they should self-assess and tell me how well they think they understand things. And when they self-assess, they're going to assess their understanding on a scale of 1 to 4. All right, 1 meaning I really have no idea what's going on. 4 meaning I'm pretty good on this and could take a test on it right now if I needed to. All right. After they've done that, they're going to take a formative assessment. We call those target checks. All right, and that'll be an opportunity for me to see what the student knows. All right. So again, I will basically evaluate their performance on this same scale of 1 to 4. Okay, to let them know how I think that they're doing. All right. At that point, I'll give that target check back to them with some written feedback. And based on how they did, they'll either practice the topic more or they'll move on to the next topic. Okay. So advantages to the flipped model. The biggest thing is that it frees up class time so that students can get one-on-one teacher assistance. Before I did this, I used to have kids in my room every day after school coming in to get extra help because they were struggling. They weren't getting the help they needed in class. Because of the flip model, they don't need to do that. The problem was under the old model, class time was wasted. I would be, giving notes, and I'd have to stand there and just wait for kids to copy stuff off the board, which really was wasted time. So now the kids are doing that at home and using the class time to get the help that they need. All right. Because of this, the students are less likely to get stuck at home and give up. Under the old model, it was, normal for me to finish a lecture and then give a homework assignment. The next day, the homework assignment would be done, and all the kids would come in and they'd say, wow, Mr. Hecker, when you did it on the board, it looked so easy, but when I got home, I had no idea how to do it. This avoids that scenario. All right. And then logistically, it's nice too, because as the students are watching the videos, they can pause and rewind. They can pause stuff to write things down, rewind to hear things again. When they're reviewing for a test or whatever, they can go back and rewatch the videos at a later date. Students who are absent don't miss notes, which is a huge benefit. And then finally, if students want to, if they're rocking and rolling on stuff, they can work ahead, which obviously is a great benefit for those kids who pick stuff up rather quickly. Okay. Because of all of this, though, it is crucial, it is super, super important that students watch the videos before they get to class. If they don't, what happens is they spend the class time watching the videos and they don't get the benefit of the assistance on the problems. Students pretty quickly figure out how important this is. And if students aren't doing that, then there will be some conversations and or phone calls home. Okay. Every Friday, I'll let the students know what videos are going to be watched the following week. I know students get busy, between sports or, musical performances or whatever. And so, they might not have time to sit down and watch a video on a night that it's assigned. So I'll let students know on Friday what videos are going to be assigned to the following week. Just as a, FYI too, I try very, very hard to keep the videos under 20 minutes. I think there's 1 or 2 that are at 21 minutes, and hopefully this one will be under 20 minutes too. All right. As I said earlier, students are strongly encouraged to take detailed notes with all of the definitions and examples. The day after I assign a video, the students are going to prove to me that they watched the video by doing one of these 2 things. They can either just show me their notes. By the end of the trimester, I think about 95% of my kids are doing this. And then I always get 1 or 2 kids who just don't need to take notes. But I still need to know that they watched the video, and so for those kids, I give them a video quiz, which is basically just a quiz that covers the material that was on the video. All right, so here's a quick guide on how to be successful in my class. The first thing is you gotta watch the videos. I think everything else that it says here, I've already stated elsewhere in the video, but you have to watch the videos to be successful. All right. Once you've done that, make sure you do the target practice worksheets. It's where you're going to find out if you understood what you watched in the videos. Just watching me do it is not the same as trying it on your own. All right, as you do those target practice worksheets, you're going to start to learn how to answer the questions independently, which is going to be a good measure to know whether or not you're going to be ready to do it on the test. All right, self-assess. I want you to monitor your own learning. Okay, you're going to sort of decide how well you think you understand each of the learning targets that are presented at the beginning of the video. You know, and if you're rating yourself at a 1 or a 2 or even a 3, really, you need to be asking questions or getting extra help, or, you know, figuring out what it is that you need to do to move forward. And hopefully that will be aided by the target checks, the formative assessments, okay? Once per video, basically, there's going to be a target check, and it's where I find out if you understand the material that you practiced. I think in the past, this would have just been called a quiz, which is basically what it is. I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But it's a little quiz on each video to make sure that you understand what's going on. And the cool thing about these is, you know, you will take it, you'll do the best you can, and then when you get it back, I'm going to give you written feedback that tells you what you did right, what you did wrong. If there were, you know, points that you really struggled on, then I'll grab you and say, you know, hey, let's talk about this the next day in class so that you can figure out where your mistakes were. So the cool thing about this is it gives you a chance to find out if you're accurately self-assessing, so that, you know, sometimes I get kids who go, oh, I totally understand this, you know, and they rate themselves at a 4, and then they take the target check and they, you know, get a 2, and it's like, maybe you didn't understand that as well as you thought you did. So you need to be paying a little bit more attention to what it is that you need to know. All right. If you do get less than a 3 on any of these formative assessments, the target checks, I will expect you to retake it. Okay. We're going to be doing bell work this year. A lot of times at the beginning of the hour, I'll just be coming around checking to see that people have finished their you know, the video notes or finished up their target practice worksheet or whatever. And so during that time, you'll be doing bell work, where you'll be learning some of the skills that we're going to need for labs and whatnot. Okay. And then the labs is where you get to apply all the cool stuff that we learn in the videos. All right. There will be a test or a lab or something. I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to do this yet, but there's going to be an assessment at the end of the trimester that will cover the material from the lab. So you will be expected to know all that. Okay. And then finally, you know, after you've watched all the videos and done all the target practice and target checks, you'll take a test at the end of the chapter, end of the unit. Okay. Students will be given the equations from the unit, so you don't need to memorize equations. If you've used class time appropriately and progressed through the unit at a reasonable pace, and that also includes, by the way, retaking any target checks if necessary. So if you've done all of that and you don't do well on the unit test, then you can retake it. Obviously, the retakes are not the exact same assessment, but they cover the same material. All right. And then finally, at the very end of the try, there's going to be a final exam that counts for 20% of your grade. All right. So your grade on MyStar, students' grade on MyStar. Here's the deal with your grade. It's determined 100% by your tests, okay? Well, tests and final exam, okay? Your homework, your labs, your, I say homeworks, your target practice, your target checks, everything between the tests is exactly that. It's practice, and it's not graded. It will not affect your grade. That said, I know as parents, you want to know how your student is progressing, so I will be putting some stuff onto MyStar. It just doesn't affect the grade. So here's the deal. The target practice worksheets. I will put those in MyStar. I'll give your student a grade of somewhere between 0 and 4. Basically just graded on completion. So target practice, when you see those in MyStar, it's graded just on completion. Okay, so if your student gets a 4 on a target practice, all that means is that they tried every problem. Okay, if they get a 2, it means they tried half of the problems. If they get a 0, it means they didn't do it. All right, or if it's blank. Okay. Now, after they do the target practice, they're going to do a target check. These are going to be graded, again, on a scale of, well, 1 to 4 this time. But here, the 1 through 4 tells you how well your student understood the material. So for the target checks, the 1 to 4 is a measure of comprehension. How well does your student understand the material? All right. If they're getting a 4, it means they're in pretty good shape. They'd probably get an A or a B if they took the test right now, you know, up to that point. A 3 means that they're doing pretty well, but that they're, you know, needing to refer back to their notes, or, you know, asking me a couple of quick questions, or, you know, a classmate a couple of quick questions, that sort of thing. You know, I kind of see that as a student would probably get a C, maybe, if they took the test right now. A 2 means that the student's struggling, even if they've got notes. And there's some pretty big concept that the student doesn't understand. And then if the student gets a 1, they can't answer any of the questions. Maybe they haven't watched the video, or watched the video but weren't really engaged and didn't take notes, or something. Okay. So those will be entered into MyStar, but they don't affect the final grade. The only thing that's going to affect the final grade is those tests. All right. So why would I do this? So here are some of the advantages to this grading model. The biggest thing, and the reason that we're doing this, is that because of this, the student's grade is going to end up reflecting the student's knowledge rather than their behavior. Since their grade is based just on the tests test what they know. So, if a student finishes the trimester with, an 85%, that means they learned 85% of what they're supposed to learn. And so it doesn't, measure behavior. It's not me marking down for stuff being late, or, that kind of stuff. So the cool thing about it is it increases the student choice by allowing the students to decide how much practice is necessary in order to be successful. Okay, some students are going to need more practice, some are going to need less. Okay, and so the work that I assign is sort of the average amount. Some students are going to find they need more practice, some students are going to find they need less, and it's up to the student to determine what they need to be successful. And obviously, if they're not accurately assessing how much work they need to do, then again, that'll be a conversation. All right. The other thing here is students aren't penalized for learning at different speeds. I remember when I was in school, I used to get frustrated when, I'd be graded on a homework assignment, and I just hadn't learned the material yet. I tried my hardest, and then I'd lose points, and by the end of the chapter, I would know it. It frustrated me to lose points while I was learning. So the practice worksheets are intended for learning, and it's unfair to grade at this stage. All right. Next is sort of a big picture thing, which is this. I think that grading like this, it demonstrates that learning is why we're at school, right? I think so often we get so focused on points, and people are so focused on gaining points, that they sort of lose the whole point. Why are we here? We're here to learn, right? It's not just whoever has the most toys at the end wins, right? And then finally, because of the 1 to 4 scale that I'm going to be using with these formative assessments, the students are going to know how well they're progressing through the unit, because they're going to be informed of their strengths and weaknesses along the way, and they'll know what they need to do to improve. Okay, so that's the deal with that. I will send out occasional parent emails using the email address included on Parent Portal. If you don't get an email within a day or so of watching this video, make sure you update your contact information on Parent Portal. The Parent Portal can be accessed through the district website. Finally, if you got any other questions, they are on the syllabus, this information here, but just so you know, you can check my website, email me, call me on my voicemail, or if you have a question in the evening or over the weekend or whatever and need to get a hold of me, you can email me at my personal email anytime you want, and that will go straight to my phone, and I will respond to you in a timely fashion. All right, so there you go. Looking forward to a really good year.